welcome to Patdoodles. Today I am going to be sharing with you a little tutorial on how to repurpose one of these little dolls here. They're old celluloid dolls or hard plastic, and just different ways to use them to, just to repurpose them. And this is in collaboration with Dolls Rescue and also Evergreen Art Dolls. Tell you a little bit about Dolls Rescue, and I'll be sure to put their links down below. She takes old dolls that she finds at thrift stores, yard sales, and other places, and basically she rescues them. She touches up their face, wash them up, clean them up, and bring them back to life. Her favorites are Barbies, Trolls, Chatty Cathy. Those are some of her favorites, but she loves all dolls, actually. And at Evergreen Art Dolls, Evelyn specializes in silicone art dolls. And one of her favorites is avatar type dolls. So if you want to get a lot of information and learn more about dolls, please check out their channel. And when you get to Evelyn's channel, you'll know you're there because you're going to hear, "Hello, rays of sunshine." And that's exactly what she is. So let's get started with this tutorial, and I'll tell you everything we need. We're going to use some newsprint, and then we need some chipboard. I'm going to be using some stamps and ink in this project, some journaling cards, scissors, a hot glue gun, as well as I like to use the fabric tack glue, ribbon, sunflowers. This one's going to be a fall themed doll, some old hankies and pieces of lace, and also some little trinkets, little buttons and so forth. Okay, so to get started, the very first thing we do is we come to the decision on about what size we want ours to be. I have decided to make this one, I think it's a 4x6, because if you wanted to put this in a frame, it'd be very easy to find a frame for this. So the first thing I did was cover it with newsprint. And I have two sides already glued, but I wanted to show you on the last two sides, the first thing I did was to trim my paper like that. And that way you have a nice mitered smooth corner. I put some glue up and down there and across there. And the back of this will be covered as well. And then I carefully fold this all the way up like that, pulling it tight, and do the same thing to this corner here. So now we have a very nice back and front, but we will be covering that, so don't worry about that. But then I wanted this paper to look a little aged. So what I did was, I forgot to bring my little thing in the house that you use, like a little sponge. But you always can take your stamp pad and just kind of go around the edges real smooth like that. Or if you don't want to do that, you can always take just any piece of fabric and kind of smear some of your colors on like so. Okay, so then the next thing I'm going to do, while I still have my stamps out, while I have my ink out, is that centered? Yes. I'm going to take my little pen, my little ink pad, of course, got it from the thrift store, and this is a silicone block. And I'm going to get that good and inked up. I'm not sure of exactly where I want this thing, so I think I'm going to stamp it more than once. Give it a nice, even pressure, and lift it up. You barely can see it. It says growing old is mandatory. Growing up is optional. So I'm going to stamp that again. Get my stamp really up there good. And let's put it over in this corner here. And again, I rub, and I'm doing it in brown, and that way it kind of looks faded a little bit. And then the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take my doll, and I have to take all of her clothes off. And the clothes on these dolls are glued on. I'm going to lay that out of the way for just a minute. So that's the first thing. And usually, Oh, I forgot to mention you do need rubber bands, because when you take these clothes off of these dolls, usually they fall right off the arms and legs because they are just so rotten. I mean, so they're old. So I'm going to cut down on these pants here to get this leg out. See what I mean? Leg falls right out. So I will show you how to string. This is the rubber band. You can see it's just brittle. So that's one leg out. And now let's take her shirt off, and I'm quite sure the same thing will happen with her arms. Yep. Okay, so what I do, the first thing I do is I'm going to show you how to string the arm. If you look at this closely, you will see that there is a little groove in there. So it'll last a little bit longer. I take that rubber band, I take two together and put it right in there. And what wants to happen as you're working is that rubber band want to come out. So I like to take my glue gun and put a little bit of glue. I'm not touching the rubber band. I'm basically closing that little gap up. Now it's pretty hard to get this all the way through her arm. So what I do is I take a needle and thread. I put a knot in my needle. And I go right through these two rubber bands. And when I get to the end of the thread, I go right through that little loop. Now I'm able to stick the needle through the arm and have it come right out the other side. And make sure when you're doing this, you have the left arm on the left side and the right arm on the right side. Now you could just glue them in, and you notice I'm going to do the same thing. It has a little hook on that arm. Pull it out with your needle and thread. This is the easiest way I know to tell you to do this. And I am going to hook that right around there, around the two rubber bands. And now I can cut my thread. That was just a guide to get the rubber band to go through. So now her arms are on. And we're going to do the exact same thing with the legs. Take two rubber bands. Like I said, you don't have to use two, but I always like to use two. And I hook it around that little loop in there. Now in this case, this rubber band has melted, glued itself right to there. Okay, got it out. Put that in and put a little bit of glue right in there, just to kind of hold that in place. Okay. Then I take my needle and thread again. I mean, you could even use like a safety pin, a smaller one. And I'm keeping my finger in the loop. And I'm going to make a knot. And I'm going to go right through that little loop. And then I'm going to go through here. So now I go through the two legs, or through the leg holes. Make sure again you have left leg to left side. And now I take this leg here and I pull my rubber band out. And you can buy regular stringing elastic. I have some, but it was too big for this size doll. Now I want to cut my little string. So now my doll is back together. So then I got to dress my doll. That's the next thing I'm going to do. I'm going to look at my different laces and stuff. I think I'm going to use this lace here. No, you know what? I forgot I had this brown. I think I'm going to use this first. Or no, I think I'm going to use this. And I am going to measure how high I want my dress. And you can see that's kind of long for this doll. But what I'm going to do, I'm hoping this is going to be, if I turn this down, if this will be the right length for her. Yep. Yeah, okay. So now I have to cut, I'm going to cut right along this top of this little edge here. Put a little glue on the doll's chest, and I like to use fabric tack on this. And you know what I want to do though? And that's the only thing is when you're working like this, you think of other ideals along the way. So her little dress will have some straps on it. I am going to go in and cut 2 straps for her dress. And I am going to put that on before I wrap the other part around her body. Okay, then I bring that around her neck like that and bring it to the back and glue again. And the little marks on it is very small, but it is a mark on it. It says made in, I'm not sure, probably, made in Hong Kong. And you usually can find these dolls very inexpensively at the thrift stores and so forth. Okay, so now she has a little sleeve, a little bodice for her dress. And then we're going to take a little bit more glue and put across there again. And take this part here that I just cut, and we're going to put that right around her chest. Move her arm up. And you notice that's a little long now, but that's okay. And now what I'm going to do is cut that so I can just glue the back seam right together. Okay. And then I'll bring this side over here. And you don't have to so much worry about the back because it will be glued down. Okay. So you can see her dress is kind of long. I think it's too long. I don't like that. So I'm going to take it off of her and I'm going to cut it shorter. Just cut it about right there. I didn't measure it or anything. It's probably okay. And I'm going to put my glue on there again. And let's put this little dress right back on her the same way. And of course, you could make your dress any length you want. And what I'm going to do to help hold this in place quick, oh, it's holding in place pretty good. Put a little more glue here. Okay. Now she has her dress on. I'm going to cut that little edge there. And we're going to put glue straight down the back here to hold it together. So while that is drying, I'll set her aside, but that's her little dress. I said I'm going to set her aside, but I'm not. I'm going to take this brown and I'm going to cut this tip off of this hanky. Because I want to make her a little apron. And I cut it at an angle because I wanted that lace to be all the way around instead of on just one side. Okay, so I'm putting some little finger tucks in it to kind of adjust and see if that's how I want it. I want it shorter. Okay, then I'm going to go back with my fabric tag glue and I'm going to go on and put some glue along that edge because I want to finger pleat this or gather it with my fingers. Okay. And now put some glue right along there and put her little apron on. Okay, now to hide that raw edge of that, I would take some little lace. This is a hanky here that I've been cutting on. And I am going to cut a band, a waistband in essence. And more glue. And wrap that right around there. And bring it to the back and tuck. Okay, we get to the back of that. We just bring those two pieces together and glue them down. piece of newspaper stuck on my hand. Okay, so that's the first step of that. Okay, so now she's basically done. We're going to do more to her. Now we got to decorate this here. So I'd already cut this little pumpkin out. So we're going to glue that right in the corner. That came off of that, the little journaling cards. And before I start to glue anything down, I kind of lay everything in the position of where I think I want it to go. And that gives me the opportunity to move everything around or do whatever I want to do with it. Okay, so if I put that there, see, it would hide that whole thing there. So oh, I know, I'll put it from the back side. Okay, so yeah, I'll put that there, but it needs to be longer, so, because I'm going to gather it on the back side. So I'm going to cut another little piece of lace so I can gather that. Okay, then I have a couple of sunflowers. Oops. And I'm going to cut this off right at the base. Don't cut my flower, because I'm going to glue that in that corner. I have this little rope like, so I'm going to wrap this, make a little bow, and then I'll tie it and pull it tight. Okay, so these will be my little bow behind my flower. So I kind of like lay everything where I think I may want it before I put the doll, actually start gluing things on. And then I know I want to use a couple of buttons. Oops, her legs came back off, but that's okay. I must not have had that hooked right. I like this little ideal of this little key. I think that would be cute on it. What else do I have here? Thought I had some more flowers on the table. I do. Here's another little flower here. I think I may want that in her hair. And what else do I have in this little thing here? Let's get a couple of buttons out. We'll put a couple of buttons on there. I don't know what that is, but that would be nice. The color's perfect. Oh, here's a little heart. So that would be nice on there. And her legs are not on, but we're not going to worry about that. And now it still looks kind of plain to me. So let's take this little piece of handkerchief here. Probably put that in that very corner there. What else we got? What else do I have? Some more lace here. Let's take this lace and put, yeah, we'll put this piece of lace kind of there. I have to trim it. Okay, so we'll trim that piece of lace. And now we'll start gluing. I'm pretty satisfied with the way she looks. The only thing I do need to do, we need to do something to her hair, because remember, we took a band off of her hair. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to put a little glue on her head. And I have this green ribbon here. And I'm going to take this green ribbon and wrap around her head. And put another little dot of glue there to hold it in place and cut that off. Okay, and then I'm going to tie a bow to add to her hair, or lack of hair, I guess I should say. Ooh, bow didn't turn out that good. Okay. So I kind of adjust my bow how I want it, and then I cut it. And then I'm going to glue that bow right to her head. I want my little tails a little bit short on that side. And I will glue this right to her head. On that side there. Then on this side here, I'm going to glue this flower. It's kind of large, but it's fine. So we'll glue that flower right there to her head. And then for that center, I don't like the way the center of that flower looks, so I'm going to take one of these little beads off of here, these little pieces off of this little thingy here, and I will glue that right to her head. Oops. And I will put some glue right in there. And glue, ooh. Nothing turns out right when you're trying to rush and do this in front of an audience. And I want a little bit more of this here stuck down her flower. But I want it more to the front like so. Okay. So now the next thing I'm going to do, since I know I want this in this corner, I am going to go in and put my glue on there. Right in that corner. And then on the back of this, well, before I do the back, I want to go in and add this piece of lace here. So I just kind of smear my lace with my glue around, put that lace right there. I'm going to go up under that pumpkin a little bit. Put a little dab of glue there. And then trim this some, so we don't have so much bulk on the back. And put some glue on there. Okay, glue gun. That's one side of it done. I should have mitered the corner of that. I did not. Let's see if I can kind of go back and do it now.